Welcome to the full-length supercut that I probably should have done the first time. If you saw the original version of this video, then I'm gonna put the timecode to skip to on screen, so that way you can skip to the stuff you haven't seen before without having to scrub through the whole video. Welcome to the new series I will be uploading every day I don't have a full-length video coming out. The once-a-day Roast-a-Mans. It's like a vitamin, but for pain, where I'll cover some of the characters I missed in a roast or taking a roast even further. And today, the first character I ever truly just forgot. 2007 Bone Crusher. A guy who clearly just wishes he was Scorponok. Either of them, really. With a sad approximation of the stinger tail and the crab-like features. Looking at the face, he screams to me that Bay was thinking, what if Scorponok, but also Gimp? Love the skates with the claws pointing down. That has to be a metric pain in the ass. He's either teetering, trying to balance as he waddles everywhere, or he's skating around on them, and at some point he'll mess up, and those will dig into the ground and cause him to smash his teeth out on the pavement. Oh, so that's why his face looks like that. He slipped and grounded off on the concrete. I'm not fucking done with you, Huffer. I can't help but notice those biceps of yours are kind of ludicrously huge. Yet in the first episode of the show, you got trapped under a bit of scaffolding and had to have someone else come and save you. Come clean here. You wanted to look strong, but didn't want to put in the work, so you gave yourself some synthol injections to fake your muscles, didn't you? And just like all those weirdos who abuse that stuff, you don't look cool, you just look like a freak. Did you also inject it into your fists, or were you just born with a bad case of Mickey Mouse hands? And why do you have the belly button, dude? Did you literally choose to have that because you were like, well, a human could kick my ass? So you wanted to be more like us because you thought it would make you stronger. Though, I do gotta commend you on your honesty. At least you aren't rocking a giant codpiece like Prime. Instead, it perfectly reflects your small dick energy by being completely flat. 2007 movie Brawl, you Predator cosplaying Neanderthal. I love how I can look at your face and just see that yes, you are the dumbest man who ever lived. I mean, look at you. You're trying to use unheated blades to shank other Cybertronians. That's adorably moronic. You know what's weird is that you look way more human than your compatriots with far more logical proportions. And hell, even your shoulder kibble isn't blocking your peripheral vision that bad. How are you the best designed Decepticon on your side? That can't possibly be because you chose to have a better body. There is nothing between your ears. No way you made that decision consciously. I'd be willing to bet that those are the default proportions for everyone, and when you got asked if you wanted to change anything to add some personal flair to your body, you just belched and drooled a little bit. Though, that does mean everyone else who was smart enough to respond was also dumb enough to ruin their own bodies. Armada Sideswipe. What, you guys thought I was never going to go after shitty toys? There is a whole world of trash designs out there, and I'm not going to let them just pass me by. And if you think this video was done for you, yes. Sideswipe, you live perhaps the most cursed existence of anything I've ever considered. I mean, not only are you just an ugly chud with a bad face and no neck, as well as a show model that is just a lie, but you are weighed down by such unreasonable kibble. I swear it's like you don't know how bodies work. All you knew is that big arms make people look strong, but you didn't quite get what that meant. So you packed 2/3 of your body's mass into your forearms. And then you tried to give yourself the God King of all BDE, but you're so dumb you can barely breathe, and instead you have it sticking out of your ass, because there is no low that you can't dig your way under. Twitter, you forced my hand on this! And yeah, I am willing to branch out into other franchises. Expect the flames to get spread around. King Ghidorah, you bumblefuck loser. I don't understand how you've gone down as, finger quotes, Godzilla's greatest foe, when literally no one can be expected to be intimidated by you. First up, 100% gold color scheme. Bold choice, to say the least. No accents, no highlights. Whoever came up with you just gave up partway through, didn't they? Also, no arms and a horribly exposed torso. You are just begging to die. Please attack me and all my organs. Your only saving grace is that among the kaiju, you are the one known to spam the beam attacks. But you can't fucking aim for shit! You attack like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man with a gun. Sure, maybe you'll hit an opponent, but you're also probably gonna hit a random hawk and your own foot. You are the hose turned on to maximum with no one holding it of villains. A pathetic, desperate idiot who the movies only pretend is intimidating, because otherwise they'd have to name the film Godzilla vs. the Neighborhood Cripple. Another toy today. Yippee. You know, Wheelie, it was always super suspicious that you were constantly hanging out with Daniel. But I have to hand it to you. I never expected anyone to have a toy made of them that looks like it diddles kids. You are an unmitigated horror show. Ventriloquists' dummies look upon you in terror. How did Hasbro finish this figure and at any point think to themselves, yeah, a sane human is gonna want this? Your existence is so offensive that it actually explains how movie Wheeljack happened. And you can't even be the best at anything, you cursed fuck. You are still only the second most nightmarish abomination this franchise has ever produced, thanks to that mutant you spawned. The only reason you are remembered as Wheelie, the character everyone hates because they rhymed every sentence, is because everyone repressed the memories of your toy in order to protect their sanity, you abusively hideous freak! Rally/Checkers Rhinox. Where do I even fucking begin? We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have found not only the single worst Transformers toy ever, we have found the worst toy ever. A toy so bad that I trade it for one extra French fry. Hell, I'd trade it for nothing. You cannot convince me that these weren't handed out in some Captain Planet villain-esque plot to have kids throw these away so it helps increase pollution. Clearly, whoever designed this not only had never seen Rhinox from Beast Wars, but had also just never seen Transformers, as well as they were clearly suffering from a dearth of talent. Obviously, they saw GoBots, mistook it for the Transformers, and then tried to combine that with the Muppets while also being incompetent. Apparently, this isn't a rhino because he's got elephantitis in his legs, his shoulders are attached to his Shrek ears, his arms are just flat paddles, they don't even have fists drawn on them to pretend, and he's got a constant look of abject horror. He obviously knows that he's a horrible teleporter accident masquerading as a person. He has no mouth and he must scream. Welcome to the once-a-day Roast a Beast Wars week. It's like a vitamin, but for Beast Wars pain. And oh, I am not done with rallies or checkers or whatever you want to call that shitty restaurant's Rhinox yet, because we haven't even seen the Beast Mode. How? How did you take the worst thing ever and find a way to make it suck harder? Are you kidding me with this? This is your alt mode. I know robots in disguise has always been a bullshit tagline, but why does this thing have gold scales? Why are you pulling this sad Ghidorah bullshit? I thought he was bad, but at least he had another head. Are you so pathetic that even emulating a loser, you do it worse? You are the ugliest, most unconvincing freak to ever walk on four limbs. You are a rhino with two paper-thin heads who's charging on fucking flippers that are attached to your chins. So no matter what you do, all your weight is resting on your neck. Your only saving grace is that no matter what you ram, you are going to wrap around it with your torso and not your heads, because otherwise you just decapitate yourself with your only method of attack. Evolution weeps at the notion of your existence. Retracts, you suck so hard you don't even deserve to be roasted. Injector, you absolute dumbass. I love how you clearly didn't understand the concept of what you were. The other fusers were a mixture, a fusion, if you would, of two creatures. Like Torka was a combination of an elephant and orca. He was terrifying, like if John Carpenter's The Thing was in Beast Wars. Then Noctoro, a bull-bat hybrid with broken wrists. Airhammer, a bird who's also a shark. All of these are indivisible. You are an entire bee with an entire fish for your head. Gotta hand it to you, you will survive decapitation just fine because your head is a perfectly viable creature on its own. But at the same time, it's like I turned on big heads mode in a video game because it's like 2/3 of your entire mass. So odds are any shot you take is gonna punch straight through your brain. And God, you are just so spindly in the body. Why did you let your head soak up all your mass? Your skull is a giant weak point and your body is so flimsy you could get hit by a feather and break a bone. Everywhere is a critical hit on you. Sorry for forgetting to do one of these on Saturday, just like how I forgot to cover Jolt in my Revenge of the Fallen roast. Well, I say forgot, more like I didn't realize Sir literally in 18 seconds of the movie, if you count background shots, was in there in the first place. I don't think anyone's sure if this toy looks anything like you. Nobody's ever seen you before. You look like you're wearing a woman's sexy times nightie, and you stand like you desperately have to shit. You are about as cool as a pancreas exam. But hey, at least we can experience all the pain you have in store for us in just a few seconds, unlike those. I don't know what to critique on you, because your design is so fucking bad in the movies, they had to invent kibble so they had an excuse for a place to put your alt mode. And I know why Hasbro thought they could get away with it, considering who on earth knows you well enough to disagree that this trash isn't what you just look like. IDW Prowl, I don't know whether or not to roast you for what you look like or who you are. It's not so much that IDW defined you as they did character assassinate you, which is impressive considering how little character you had before. Had they applied everything they wrote for you to an amoeba, it still would have created the most loathed organism on the planet. The Gestapo and the NKVD would look at you and go, dude, you need to ease up a bit. You are the kind of guy who would enslave someone and then demand that they thank you for the privilege of being your property. Because they're better off without freedom since they clearly couldn't handle it, and it's not like they were doing anything of value anyways. Better to let your infinite wisdom and equally big penis guide them. It wouldn't surprise me to find out that the Great War was fought because the Decepticons were all the people your gaslighting ass fucked over, and the Autobots were the people that you could manipulate into dying to defend you, you loathsome piece of wretched garbage. Let's do another kaiju. Megalon. You know, I think you're the only enemy in all of Godzilla I've ever seen to kill itself with its own attack. Fitting you'd commit suicide. Should have done it the moment you were born. Saved yourself a lifetime of being you. And at least it was better than dying at the hands of that Ultraman knockoff Jet Jaguar. Dying to him would have been almost as embarrassing as your entire existence up to that point. You are the saddest giant monster. You look like some desperate party bro who lost both his hands in a bad Hawaiian shirt wearing a helmet that you crafted yourself. And reminder, you have no hands. Your handiwork is trash. I love how you traded your ability to feed yourself for some, don't even know if you can call these claws, punch dildos that are neither sharp nor pointy. And I don't think the M pattern is helping these be any more dangerous. You might think it's M for Megalon, but it's actually for moron. Ignoring the fact that in his introduction, Movie Jazz here managed to be an uncomfortable racist stereotype with just 14 words. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen! We've discovered the grayest possible object! I think I'm going to have to give this one the default judgment of being the most boring Transformers design ever, because I just can't tell what I'm looking at. I mean, I can't say for sure because my eyes refuse to focus on any part of it. It's like, that right there's gray, that's also the exact same gray, but somehow even more. I have perfect vision, yet it feels like I need glasses to look at this shitty thing. God, it's like he looked at beige and said, wow, that's too vibrant. Then he looked at white and said, that's too intense. Gotta love how he was killed by getting ripped in half, something that has never been a serious injury to any other Cybertronian. I guess his will to live was as strong as his color layout. I made fun of Megalon, so let's rip into Jet Jaguar. It's only fair. You are the ugliest, dweebiest knockoff to ever be thought up by an unoriginal child with the worst case of English name ever. You are neither Jet nor Jaguar. Instead, you are more abomination made of wax. Your face is terrifying. You look like Neo halfway through having his mouth stolen. And your eyes are so sinister. Unlike Megalon, you're actually scary. I see you've brought enough donuts for the entire class. But why are you wearing them? I don't think you understand what ribbed for her pleasure means. So based on the way you look and the arrow pointing down at your dick, I think you're probably very happy to try and figure it out with no one's consent. I didn't know that robots could look like sex criminals, yet here we are. You look like what a clown from hell threw up after eating too many souls. So let's look at the first Transformers figure to ever just suck, even at the time. Ironhide, you are such a cursed piece of shit, it's insane. I know you were burdened with a show model that was just a lie, but even if it looked exactly like you, the disappointment upon every child's soul who received you for Christmas 1984 would be enough to power hell for 100 years. Individually. It's fair to say that, having not been the case, hell is now powered for all eternity, and it may have actually retroactively created perdition in the first place. So powerful is the misery you caused that it could travel back through time and birth hell. God didn't make it. No, he found what you created and thought, yeah, this is a fine punishment for all of history's shittiest people. I will never get over the fact that your face is a sticker that they could have changed at any point, and they never bothered switching it for something that actually looked like the character. Had I gotten you as a child, I'd be a video game YouTuber right now, and I wouldn't even remember what Transformers is. Fuck you. Hedora. Look, I'm gonna forego the low-hanging fruit of pointing out that you are just a literal giant pile of shit. I hope you appreciate what I'm sacrificing to do this one right. So many plump, juicy turd jokes that I could be making. Instead, I'm going to come at you with, what you got, motherfucker? If Godzilla was not a stone-cold moron in the movie you were in, you'd never have a chance. You winning a fight involves your opponents holding still for the entire duration. What's that? You can throw the poopus at them? Well, you better hope that they're allergic to corn, because that would just piss me off. And what's that? You're weak to electricity? Well, you better hope you don't get tossed through power lines like they're a set of wrestling ropes like what happens in every Godzilla movie ever. And you're weak to your eyes getting exploded? And if Godzilla would just grow a brain cell in your movie and use his atomic breath, you'd probably be weak to that too? Your only saving grace is that Godzilla is as stoned in that movie as the people who were making it. Movie Scorponok. You know, I went to write this one once before, only to stop when I realized I could just not make heads or tails of you. So much of you is just visual noise. Your body is like natural dazzle camo. I can't tell which way you're facing and if you're coming or going. And are you just brain dead or what? Your ult mode is a giant earth scorpion. How is that a disguise? And why did you switch to it? Because it isn't helping you hide, and I'm fairly sure that there are more dangerous things for an alien death robot to be than a blind invertebrate who has to hold something down with its hands to use its only attack. Maybe that's why you couldn't hit all those soldiers who were like 50 feet away from you. You have 4 eyes, but each of them has 20/80 eyesight. And your eyes are cameras. How do you even have split pupils? And it's just glorious that you don't realize that those are meant for hunting through grasses. No wonder you can't see shit. You're so dumb that you built them wrong to look intimidating. Godzilla! You thought you were safe because you're the king of the monsters. Guess again, motherfucker! Oh, look at those adorable little turtle feet. You have the complexion of an overripe avocado. You look like if Grumpy Cat was a lizard who couldn't lay off the butter. I just have to commend what a small penis maneuver it was to require the American Godzilla to be the biggest one. I want our Godzilla to be bigger than all the others. Yeah, okay, we can do that. No, make him bigger. Yeah, we'll make him bigger. No, I want him bigger. We haven't designed him yet. How are we supposed to make him bigger? Make him bigger by volume. Why? I have a tiny penis and I need more girth on that lizard! Zilla, how exactly is it that your 2D cartoon counterpart looks more realistic than you, is tougher than you, is more violent than you, and I would rather watch every second of their series than watch even 1 second of your movie? You know, people think you got disrespected when Godzilla annihilated you in Final Wars with a tail bitch slap and his atomic breath. But honestly, no. They were giving you more respect than you deserved. You were killed by regular missiles. So what should have happened is that Godzilla should have hit you with his tail and you should have ripped in half. The atomic breath was more than you deserved. Hell, you probably couldn't handle what comes out of the other end of Godzilla. That atomic shit would have done you in. Ah, the man with the toy who lied. Or is it the toy with the man who lied? You know, if you were going to tell such a horrific untruth about what you actually look like, why didn't you make yourself look cool? You basically took carte blanche to look like whatever you wanted to, Ironhide, and you insisted on making yourself look like someone's racist 50-year-old dad who constantly brags about how they could still kick their son's ass, but all that beer they drink and the nothing they do all day robbed them of both their strength and their speed, so secretly, we all know their 14-year-old could take them. Why did you choose to look dumpy and bitter? I mean, I suppose it suits your personality. Your eyesight must have gone to shit too, because in the movie, you couldn't hit a single enemy while firing into a wall-to-wall crowd of Decepticons. Fitting, as the guy who talks the most trash tends to get rocked the hardest. Thank God I only mock fictional characters because I'd be dead otherwise. You know, I have to commend you, Wheeljack. Very few people are enough of a psychopath to reroute their voice through their ears. I feel like that would be horrifically painful, what with the already cheese grater-like voice you have coming out of the place you hear from. Honestly though, I can see your logic. Listening to other people would allow you to hear stuff like, no, Wheeljack, don't do that. Wheeljack, that's a stupid fucking idea. Wheeljack, you're gonna get yourself killed. Dear God, Wheeljack, he's dead. Why would you let him test this without any safety gear? So, with your voice coming out of your ears, it will be a whole lot easier for you to drown that out by talking over people. Also, I hate your feet, dude. Just imagining having scoops in my toes makes my skin crawl. Like, god damn it, I kicked a pile of dirt and now it's inside me. You know, Slinky Face, I think I know why you wear that mask. It's so that way one day, when you inevitably fuck up again, this time too hard, getting too many of your friends killed, you can just take it off and disappear into a crowd of people who have no idea what you look like. I know you often resent it when people mistake you for Bumblebee, Cliffjumper, and you know what? You're right. You don't look like him. You look like if Bumblebee was a sad neckbeard. But honestly, getting mistaken for him is to your benefit. At least people like him. At least he isn't known to literally everyone as a colossal, overconfident fuck-up who jerks the trigger so hard he can miss Megatron 50 feet away from him while he's in his blind spot, getting Hound killed in the process. Gotta love how you could have ended the war and failed to. Not because you were attacked, not because Megatron dodged, not because you were distracted, but because even in your zone, with all the time in the world and the element of unrivaled surprise, you're just such a fuck-up you couldn't seal the deal. Maybe that's why you're such an asshole. You know you suck, so you're deflecting. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if you were actively trying to look more like Bumblebee, just playing at being offended by it. That way you can leech off his goodwill. Mirage, I was gonna give you a pass. I was gonna let you be. But then you just had to paint your dick so you had a noticeable bulge sticking out of your Speedo. Because like everyone else in G1, you are a sexual deviant. Should have known that you were a creep. It's fairly obvious with a giant phallus you strapped to your shoulder. I would love if you guys could just chill with the perversion for 1 second. Even your head looks like a blue penis with an idiotic expression. I wouldn't even mention that part if you didn't look like that in every frame of the show. Any scene that has you in it looks like you're trying to suck more air through your idiot hole than a vacuum, you mouth-breathing moron. But what should I expect? You attached a rocket-powered missile next to your head. You must not like your face very much because you won't have it long after you fire that. That's one way to stop looking like you got experimental one night and shoved a dildo into your brain, and that would explain how your IQ got so low that you think this is a good idea. So people keep asking me, Perspective, how do you manage to come up with these? And my only response to them is, look at them. They do it for me. I mean, let's just take a gander at Hound. The man born with shoulders so slumped they're mounted at the bottom of his ribcage. They must hang that low from the endless rejection he feels. I mean, he was Spike's first friend, but then Spike just traded him in for Bumblebee. Think about that. Bumblebee. That's like your best friend actively avoiding you in order to hang out with your 5-year-old little brother who flat out refuses to talk about anything other than Magic the Gathering and just how good he is at the game when you've never seen him win once. You are less enjoyable to be around than that. To be fair, who would want to be around the absolutely ancient dude who wants to hang out with children and really wishes he was a different race? Man, this is the first one I actually feel kinda guilty about. And today we are going to be roasting the walking sex crime Trailbreaker. With his shoulder-mounted dildo launcher and punch penis, this dude is ready to go to jail. I know that's a bit on the vulgar side for me, but look at them. What jokes am I supposed to make here, if not these? Did they need to be so phallic? This is such a weird design, because it's plain for the most part, but every now and then it turns into pure insanity. I mean, he mostly just looks like one of those cartoon fat men who pretend to be strong by hoisting their gut up into their chest, but then you hit his knees and there's just a car crash going on his shins. It looks like he kidnapped a pair of smaller robots and glued them to the stumps where his knees once attached, forcing them to be his legs. And based on what I've seen here, it's not because he lost them in the war, it's because that was his thing, you know? Why can none of these G1 dudes stay off the sex offender registry? Barricade. You know, I knew the Decepticons were the bad guys and all, but I didn't realize they could also be edgelords. Mr. Oh, I'm so dark, I'm an evil cop, punish and enslave. Someone call Robert Zadar and have him drag this loser back to hell with him. Brilliant disguise, jackass. That has to be the single alt mode that would draw the most attention possible. You think cops aren't going to notice a tricked out sports car they don't actually drive with cringy taglines slapped on the side? So you're an edgy teenager and you think things through about as well as one too. I mean, look at the tire knuckles for fuck's sake. You do realize that's only making your punches less effective, right? They have brass in the name because they're supposed to be made of something that's already harder than your fists. And your arms are made of metal, you fuckwit! Did you realize there was no up to go, so instead you went down? Gotta love how the movie Cybertronians are just about the only bipedal creatures ever conceived who are hard to fit in a vertical frame. Every last one of them is catastrophically wide. And we have yet another Cybertronian whose biology fucks with his peripheral vision. A doomed species if I ever saw one. What moron designed this fucking bomber? What fucking enemy spy managed to saddle anyone with a ship this cursed? And what traitor came up with how you fucking fly it? Everything about this was designed for minimum survivability. It's built with a tall bay and not with a long bay, so it can be the biggest possible target. Its defensive guns seem to be mounted on the back so they can fire at their own team just in case they get any cheeky ideas, and the damn things are about as fast as the speed of an unpropelled cannoli. But they got the powerful bombs that can blow up any ship. Okay, but do they need all of them? I feel like they could ditch 70% of the bombs they have to enable them to move faster, considering 1/3 of a payload that can vaporize the biggest ships imaginable would still rip said ship in half. Also, you dumb fucks! You're in space! There is no down! You don't have to get right over them to send your payload. Fly this way! Drop this way! Just shotgun them with the fucking things! It's like you all wanted to die! Actually, that makes sense. It'd get you out of the movie faster. You know, I normally hate the Transformers anime character names, like God Bomber. That shit just makes me cringe so hard. But Grandis is the perfect name for what I'm looking at here. I knew that Cybertronians could be fat. I didn't know they could get morbidly obese with a bad case of elephantitis and hypertension. I think I know what caused the Energon shortage that started the Autobot-Decepticon war. Imagine being so wide that 3 to 4 of your head could fit between your neck and your shoulders. The fact that some toy designer back in 1980 looked at this and told themselves, "I done made the good toy," kind of destroys my faith in humanity as a species. Why does this boy have asymmetrical nipples? Does he use the one on the left to cut up the pizzas he inhales? He must inhale them, right? Because he can't reach his face with his fists. This dude be out here like the Mola Mola sunfish, only able to survive if something alive is unlucky enough to accidentally end up in his mouth on its own with no assistance from him. Grandis, are you fucking kidding me? No wonder you're so fat. That's your alt mode? Rather than burn anything, your Lord Guru looking ass probably gained calories going into it. It's so low effort. Your transformation is going to bed, and then your alt mode is like, what if an aircraft carrier was too lazy to go swimming? You are so wide front to back that I don't think you got any shorter by laying on your gut. Are you the god of the Super Mario thwomps? Because slamming your face into the ground to transform has to hit with the yield of a 10-ton nuclear bomb. Calling you Big Chungus is a disservice to Big Chungus. It's more like he should have been called Big Grandis. You know, it's weird. I'd almost have more to insult you over if you put in any effort at all. But when you are this lazy, both how should I be able to come up with more to say, and why should I put in so much more effort than you did? It's like you weren't designed to transform. It's just that someone along the way realized that they could put the local town road on your fat ass and call that an alt mode. Sky Garry, you know, I didn't know someone's rancid backwash could congeal into a name. What the fuck is that trash you're calling yourself, dude? Almost all the anime Cybertronian names sound pretty ridiculous and stupid beyond belief. Yours is the only one that is both all those things while also being lame as fuck. You sound like an uncreative human accountant who really wished he was a Cybertronian but wanted to keep your old name for tax purposes. And you stand like you're constantly guarding yourself from taking a kick to the balls. It's gotta be hard to get out of your bad Starsaber cosplay to use the bathroom, because I've never seen a Cybertronian before who stands like he has to pee. I suppose accountants aren't known for their creativity or artistic ability, so it makes sense that at best you could only ever look like low-rent Starsaber. Star Convoy, or Try-Hard Optimus Prime, who both tries too hard and not hard enough at the same time. The original Optimus had knees, elbows, and kind of shoulders. How the hell does he pose better than you, dude? You can stick on all the greeble and gold paint you want. At the end of the day, you are still just a brick. And maybe it's just the fact that the 70s is a huge joke to me, but I can't take a guy whose name is basically Space Trucker seriously. I will hand one thing to you though, bro. You are thick as fuck. Jesus Christ, them legs are bigger around than your torso. How many squats do you do? Apparently it's too many, because it caused them to fuse into one horrific mass. Your hands are vestigial nightmares, and your face looks pissed that you have to hop everywhere, just fuming like, God damn it, stop fucking running away from me! Love the pea shooters on your shoulders. That will really show the oxygen around whoever you want to actually shoot, who's boss, because there's no way you're hitting them with those. And your tinnitus must be off the charts from having explosions right next to your ears all the time. And welcome back to the movie designs, the only anthropoidal beings in the universe that are hard to fit into a vertical frame. Look everyone, it's Sir appearing in this film even less than Jolt. Sir, I don't understand why anyone even gives a shit, I barely exist. Sideways. Nice elf shoes, dude. It looks like you're wearing some Los Zapatos Mexicanos Acuñas backwards, so the drip is fire. I feel like such a fraud saying that. Those have got to be the twiggiest thighs I've ever seen. Your legs are connected to your body with pipes about as thick as a toddler's forearm. A goddamn cancer patient could sweep your legs and take them right off. Putting the Decepticon logo on your forehead has such little brother energy. Like, hey guys, I'm on the team too, right? No wonder they just abandoned you to die. Why are your hands asymmetrical with one tire vertical and one tire mounted horizontally? And your digits are attached to them. What if those pop? I feel like you'd never be able to turn a doorknob again if your fingers go flying everywhere because you stuck them on the stupidest possible part of your anatomy. I can always count on Kaiju to give me a good laugh. And no Kaiju is more mockable than Mega Ultra Chicken himself, the Hooked Horror. Wait, I meant Gigan. Everything about you is wrong and I need an explanation. You can't pick shit up, you have a beak with teeth, you have fish fins on your back despite the fact that you are not aquatic that I think you gave yourself because you're dumb enough to believe that they're wings so you can fly through the power of pure stupidity. Your toes are a single long immobile claw like you were born with clown shoes for feet, and you are biomechanical to the point of being a cyborg. You look like something H.R. Geiger thought up in an alternate dimension where he wasn't cool. How exactly are you supposed to use a buzzsaw that's in your chest as a weapon? If you can drag them in with the hooks, you're better off killing them with the hooks. And you suck so bad you need a hug, but no one is ever going to give you one because it is inherently untrustworthy to have anti-hug defenses built into your body. What's that? It's make fun of overwrought Japanese designs o'clock? I was born for this moment. Oh, Rodimus, love the absurdly tall helmet, but you aren't fooling anyone. Everyone knows that there isn't a single solitary brain cell in that head of yours. Look at you. It's like you asked your creator to just fuck my life up, fam, and they decided to make you as spiky and brittle as possible. Like, do you need 5 radio antennas that are going to get bent the moment you try to walk through a door of normal height? Or a bunch of blades hanging off your back so wide that the only way to go through the few doors tall enough is by shimmying through them sideways? Even your paint job wasn't safe. Why does it look like your Autobot symbol is going Dee? And is this design the birth of the terrible Hot Rod shoulders that have to bend over his collarbone just so he can more effectively poke himself in the eye? Must have already done it so many times that he's gotten legally blind because there's no way that he thinks he looks cool if he could actually see himself. You can put me on your stomach all you want. I'm not going to take it easy on your stupid shitty Studio Ox design. Nice stuffed underwear, dude. You look like a fucking freak, especially with your pencil-thin dick sticking out of it for some reason. No wonder you're overcompensating. And why is it shaped like a trident on the end? And then, I can't tell if you're a fat man stuffed into way too tight boots, or if you just didn't know where your ass is supposed to go, but let me tell ya, it doesn't belong on your thigh right behind your knee. And that pose, you think you look cool, but you're so dumpy you make Bulkhead look fit. And why would you give yourself love handles? Boy, that's a nasty case of elephantitis you got on your Mixmaster foot. You are so bottom heavy, you look like a toddler taking its first steps. And I swear you're just taking a standing power shit. How any artist looked at you and were proud of what they did is beyond me. No one on Earth, except for you and your creator, could possibly think you look cool. I know I'm called PerspectiveEnd, but Studio Ox Bruticus should be called Perspective Infinity. How am I seeing Brawl's treads on the opposite side of his body that they're on? Holy shit, did the artist have no idea what they were doing? Why are both your legs broken, and why did you steal Dead End from Menasor? It looks like you just shoved your foot through him while he was still in robot mode. Your gun looks like it has erectile dysfunction, and what is with both you and Devastator competing to see who has the weirdest dick? Devastator has his pencil cock, and you have your bladed pig sticker pointing straight down. Gotta hand it to you, you may be lacking in the undercarriage, but you are stacked up top. You got them Lara Croft on PS1 polygon tits. You are just made of hard edges. So not only did you swap Swindle for Dead End, but you replaced Blast Off with a Jet. I didn't know combiner teams could be sluts. And what is up with your mask? Did it need fins that come so far off your face it pokes you in the bicep? What am I talking about? Every inch of you is designed to stab yourself. It's clearly your fetish. Might as well kill another of these. Studio Ox Predaking. You could not be more a scrawny dude in a muscle suit if you tattooed it across your face. But I mean, of course you love giant fake muscles. You're a furry. You look like the Dig Dug guy is partway through killing you, so add an inflation fetish to the pile as well. Why do you have a single tire in one of your sides? And why do you have two right hands? You know, the more I look at you, the less I think you did this to yourself, and it's more a horrible punishment for your sins. Or more likely it's a monkey paw's wish gone so foul, it turns you into the lowest of the low. A Studio Ox design. Cursed with a body so bloated that you can only hold an A stance to establish submission, appendages mangled and incorrect, and the saddest attempt at the anime robo-crotch thrust ever committed. I don't hate you. You are beneath my hatred. I pity you. And I can't think of anything more cruel to do to you than to let you continue to exist. I almost didn't do this because I forgot what day it was. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you all enjoy the worst holiday. That's right, I'm roasting days now, motherfucker! Thanksgiving, the day we celebrate the lie that we were good neighbors to the Indians by eating a bunch of shitty food. Okay, let me get this straight. I get to eat turkey, a bird that tastes like nothing and is either drier than the cracked floor of a California riverbed or stomach-turningly wet. Stuffing, a way to trick your family into eating the bread and random vegetables on your counter that started to go bad a week or two ago, so you slapped them together and threw some pepper on top to create the casserole equivalent of styrofoam. Unflavored dinner rolls, the only part of the meal anyone actually eats, where the only flavor comes from the butter you spread on them, but at least they aren't nasty. And the crime against dessert that is pie, a conglomeration of fruit that is either way too old or nowhere near ripe enough, housed in a shell made of drywall. A feast for a diseased mind. First up, Studio Ox, I gotta congratulate you. For once, I don't want to claw my own eyes out looking at something you did. Good for you. Secondly, who the fuck am I looking at? This is like a ship of Theseus Menasor. For starters, you got an Apache helicopter vortex with a green cockpit for an arm, then there's Groove with a disgusting series of polyps for a right leg, then as the left leg you got who I want to say is First Aid, who's normally a fucking arm, so I'm sure he carries the weight well, and I don't even know who's supposed to be the other arm. So I ask again, who is this? Because it seems to be 1/5 Menasor, 1/5 Bruticus, 40% Defensor with 20% undetermined. Is it only the torso who defines who the combiner is? If not, how many limbs does it take to determine who they are? And who would we say this hodgepodge loser is? He has the proportions of a short guy who spends way too much time at the gym and a pencil-thin wrist you could snap with a firm high five. I vote we call him Frankensquats, because he is a sewn-together amalgamation of guys who never missed leg day. Who the fuck are you? Oh yeah, giant saw blade in your torso. That makes you super intimidating when you can't bend at the waist or turn your head. Did the Decepticons watch too much BattleBots or something? And the tiny little rubber wheel feeties are adorable. Like you must just putter along at the speed of smell on the best of days. But then imagine if you got shot in the tire, or just ran over a speed strip. At that point, it'd just be too cruel. Like pulling the wings off of a butterfly. A pathetic, pathetic butterfly. Love the Popeye stance there, my guy. Watching you roll up to the battlefield like, yo, my little brother said that you beat him up, so I'm here to hurt you, is a joy that we were sadly robbed of in the real movie. Your chest saw doesn't even really extend. If someone was killed by you, it'd be their own damn fault. You are the Mola Mola sunfish of Decepticons. Doomed to die in the first fight you enter because you are a slow, tall, wide target that can't turn their head with no guns and a can-do attitude. What are you, Eddie from Baywatch? What's with the midriff shirt, dude? Do you expect the Decepticons to surrender because you flashed them your belly button? I mean, you never did show off all that much brain power in the show, so there's a good chance that, yeah, you do think that's how it's gonna work. I am desperately struggling to not make sex pervert jokes about you. I do it too much for the G1 cast. It's gotten tired and easy. But your design is making it so damn hard. Like your cannon. Damn it! What am I supposed to do when your cannon looks ribbed for her pleasure and the whole G1 cast is a bunch of dudes going around in cardboard boxes and their underwear? I guess nice glue gun there, my guy. Did you use it to make your outfit? I'm sure all the Decepticons are terrified that you might poke them with it and give them a blister. I swear if you go yeah at me, I'm leaving. Nice cat ears there, dickhead. They go great with your moves. I don't understand how you can both look so skinny and so out of shape at the same time. I mean, you got legs so long that you'll never end up on the cover of Vogue, but given your physique, you never use them. Just letting your body waste away while you eat too much pizza like a Ninja Turtle. I guess it makes sense that you can't run in those thigh highs. I mean, those would be restrictive as hell on their own, but they've got wheels for heels. So not eating shit just standing there already has to be a pain. Also, do you breathe through your dick? Why do you have air intakes on your crotch? Do you just like the way it smells and need that in your lungs 24/7? Or did you overclock your cock so it needs air cooling now? Let's be real for a moment here. It's the latter. Jazz can get it. Stop pouting, you fucking gangly bitch. You always look like someone just kicked over your sandcastle. And I know you were designed in the 80s, but did you really have to dress for power? What's with the stuffed shoulder pads, dude? You're dressed like the frigid business wife from every movie back then. And were you drawn with crayons? You lose so much detail in your combined mode, you look like you belong in the red line. Are you a bar of soap? Do you not have knees? How are these gonna work? It looks like you have to hobble everywhere with a peg leg made out of scissors and one that's just braced with a beer keg. How is it that you managed to be sickly skinny but still have no neck? Forget a double chin, the meat around your face hangs so loose you got no chin. Ah yes, Titanium Megatron, a figure made for the sad die-cast crowd. The people who don't realize that metal is harder to work with, harder to cast, finishes worse, durability and QC go out the window as the metal slowly grinds away on the few non-metallic parts, and are okay with paying a premium for a worse product. Because their dick is tiny and soft and they need something hard to feel like a real man. And good God, did all of that just lead to Fat Boy Megatron, a figure so ugly looking at it gave me cancer. He looks like someone whittled him out of chocolate and then spray painted it with real paint. And this is his good mode. His alt mode is a thing that at best can charitably be described as something a little kid slapped together with a garbage they pulled out of their bathroom trash can. Like what's that? Is a cannon. That's the barrel of a cannon. That's not actually attached to anything. That's a cannon. Shut the fuck up, you little shit. Psykill. Look, dude, I don't know who you are. I just know that you look like an asshole. And not the villainous kind of asshole, but the kind that looked at the way you dressed yourself today and said, I think this is fine. Really? Mr. Knee-high boots wearing Lightning McQueen from Cars as your underwear, crop top, boiled egg on your head as a hood, ripoff of Alistair Smythe's shoulder dangles. You looked at that train wreck through a school bus full of children you put on and felt sexy today. Let me get this straight. You're the main villain entirely because some moron thought that that terrible pun was justification enough to make someone afraid of you. I'm sorry, I'm not afraid of motorcycles. They go under my rear tires just fine. And you know what? You look like you already did, because there's not a straight line on you. Was that also a fashion choice, or did the guy who drew you just have the shakes? You're about as intimidating as a bad Project Runway contestant who just OD'd on heroin.